Hi, I'm Laurie Battaglia, the CEO of Aligned at Work. Welcome to the Wake Up Call Live, where we have authentic, action-oriented conversations about creating truly inclusive lives and workplaces where people feel they belong. In this time of significant change and debate around workplace inclusion, we're bringing you the perspectives and the practical solutions that matter. It's about real people and real impact. Each month, I sit down with change makers who are navigating these complex waters of life and work. We dive deep into what's working, what isn't, and what's next in leadership and life. I invite you to be part of this important conversation. Drop your questions and insights into the comments, and we'll address them live during the show and continue the discussion afterward. Your voice matters in shaping the future of work. I can't wait for you to meet today's guest. And that is the truth. I can't wait for you to meet today's guest. I'm Laurie Battaglia, and Aligned at Work is a company headquartered in Scottsdale, Arizona. We work worldwide, and we help organizations that really want to align their people, their purpose, and their performance so that they can be out there in the world creating good things and creating workplaces where people actually want to work. So today, I am honored to have a longtime friend to talk to about National Mentoring Month and what mentoring is. And her name is Nicole Cacal, and she is based in Hawaii. So although I'm in Arizona, she's on early time, and she's going to talk to us today. Nicole and I met when we were both in heroic public speaking, which is all about up-leveling your performance on stage when you're there as a speaker. So she is a professional speaker. She's also the executive director of the TRU Initiative, which she'll tell you a bit about. And you have such an interesting background, Nicole. So can you tell us a little bit about all the things that's on your website about you, and give us some of your background, because I find it fascinating.
Yeah, absolutely. So it's great to be on here with you. Thank you so much for inviting me. So in a nutshell, I'm a Hawaii-based executive director running a tech initiative, and I also teach at the Parsons School of Design based in New York City. I'm the former founder and CEO of an innovation consultancy called Forbes Ignite, which was part of the Forbes media portfolio. And I worked with large enterprises like Salesforce, Accenture, American Express, Microsoft, and late-stage startups as well. And my work has always been about building bridges between technology and community, whether that is with the TRU Initiative or whether that was with Forbes Ignite. So that's me in a nutshell.
Nice. So tell us about the TRU Initiative, because I find that fascinating too. You're doing a lot for creating jobs and technology and, really accelerating Hawaii. So tell us about that initiative.
Absolutely. So the TRU Initiative is a Hawaii-based nonprofit. We are a 501c3 nonprofit based in Honolulu, but we are statewide. And our main mission is to tech enable Hawaii's organizations so we can create more tech jobs across the state. That's ultimately to create more opportunity for those who have left the island but want to return, and also those who don't want to leave the islands but want to be able to find the opportunities here to stay.
Makes sense. Do you have any numbers or statistics that you'd like to throw around about that organization? Not to put you on the spot if you don't have that memorized.
No, absolutely. So the TRU Initiative, we've been around since 2019. And since 2019, we have done, including this year, will have done 5 AI summits, which is the largest in the state. And each of those summits have just grown larger and larger and larger every year. And last year, we had about 500 attendees, a little bit under 500 attendees that all joined at the Hawaii Convention Center to talk about how to implement AI in their organizations. And we had everyone from the public sector, from for-profit enterprises, from nonprofits, you name it. And they were all coming together to really gather and talk about this space.
Nice. We like to say that AI changes everything, and we use it a lot in our work at Aligned at Work. How have you seen tech jobs change as a result of AI?
Absolutely. So that is a perfect segue into why we're even talking about mentorship, because I really believe that within the workplace, AI has changed and it actually increased the need for mentorship. Um, there's a lot of different opportunities for people to tackle challenges um, in a way where they can use tools. There's so many great AI tools that are out there, sure, chatbots, things like that. But at the end of the day, you cannot replace the ability to upskill and reskill and do that hands-on training at work. And best way to do that is to do that in tandem, working with someone on a common challenge together. And
Yeah.
so I'll talk more about that in a minute, but
Okay.
I see that as a huge change in where that's shifting. And I feel like a lot of organizations are not seeing it quite up front and center, but it's creeping up, and something that I want to call out. I
Yeah.
definitely want to call that out because, like I said, there's so much opportunity for fresh graduates and more seasoned professionals to work together.
Yeah.
And do it in ways that are beyond the traditional internships or the traditional mentorship capacity.
Yeah, I work a lot, or I speak a lot in the field service industry, and they do apprenticeships, and oftentimes we'll go into schools and things like that. Different companies will, and start to work with people young and pull them into mentorship if they're like not going to go to college, or even if they are, like pull them into apprenticeships where they've got somebody that's seasoned in something. Now AI is kind of interesting because it's so new. Well, they've been using it for a long time there, but it's so new for the rest of us that I think it's hard to find somebody with 20, 25 years of experience in it. So how do you see, let's go to the mentorship conversation if you're ready to do that,
Sure.
and talk a little bit about how you got so involved in it and what you saw. I know the story of you growing up and your dad, so take it away.
Yeah, absolutely. So funny enough, the reason why I'm so passionate about mentorship is because I didn't have a mentor early in my professional career. And I saw how beneficial it could be. And I saw how life-changing it could be as well, not just professionally, but personally as well. So also being a adjunct professor at a university, I have the opportunity to be able to mentor students and former students who frequently ask me for recommendations, and then it turns into questions about career advice, and then it turns into a mentor relationship.
Yeah.
So I kind of fell into it, and I really started diving more deeply into it and trying to understand, how can we do this better? How can we be more intentional about it, and what makes a really good mentor-mentee relationship? And so that's how it all started. In terms of what I've spoken about in the past, 2 years ago in 2020, actually now 3 years ago, in 2023,
I was marching on.
I did a TEDx talk about reciprocal mentorship, and the main subject of my story was my father. I did the TEDx talk for the Defense Acquisition University, and so it was very heavily focused on the DoD and the US Army. And so my dad served in the US military for 27 years, and he had a very decorated career. He was very successful. He was basically like a lifetime US military, US Army military enlisted soldier. And he worked his way up through the ranks, but he believed that he couldn't do it by himself.
Okay.
It's not to each their own. It's, how do I not only reach out to people who I admire and people that I feel like have the skill sets that I want to have, but how do I develop my own path so that they can help inform the goals and the timelines and everything that's needed to be able to have a successful career path. So just case in point, so I grew up in Germany. It's very common to move every 3 years when you're in the military. That's
Yeah.
typical.
Yeah.
We lived in Heidelberg, Germany for 7 years, which is
Oh,
very unusual.
yeah.
He was able to keep the family in one place because he got a promotion and he was able to move to a different battalion where he did have a longer commute, but ultimately he was able to keep the family in the same place for another term.
Yeah.
So unusual things like that, he was able to achieve because he asked and he got really great advice from great people. And had he not done that, I don't know where we would have been.
Yeah. Yeah. Bouncing around more.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. So you've lived all over the world then, different places in the world, or
I
not?
mostly lived in southern Germany. I
Okay.
grew up in southern Germany. Yeah.
Okay. Okay. Gotcha. So when we talked about mentoring, we talked about the reciprocal nature of it. So I'll just give a little bit of my background. Growing up in banking, typically anybody that I had that I would look back and go, oh, that was a mentor, was male. Because women had achieved some of the higher levels, but I got into banking in 1978. You really had to scrape your way into, if you're a female, you really had to scrape your way into these roles. And not everybody was really willing to share how they'd gotten there because they had given up a lot and all that. So I found that most of my mentors at that stage of the game were male, but I didn't know that's what they were called. I don't know if that term was around, almost how many years ago? 50, almost 50 years ago, but it kind of came along the way. And so initially I had some male mentors that came into my life simply because I needed somebody to say, why are we doing things this way? What if we did them that way? And I had good ideas, but I was new in my career and didn't even know it was a career at that point. And so Rich Mears was one of my original mentors. The late Karen Lawson and the late Jim Manolakis were both mentors. They were both doing the work I do now and public speaking and just all kinds of things. And I found that when Rich was within my organization for a long time, but then Karen and Jim, I met from outside organizations. And I found that if I were to take them to lunch a couple of times a year and pay for their lunch, I could pick their brain about things. And they were more than willing to do that. And both of them were very encouraging to me to say, you could leave this job now and do, what it took me 22 years to decide to actually leave the safe job and go out on my own.
Yeah.
So when I look back, they had maximum impact. I still remember the things that they said to me. And then now I have a number of people that I mentor, and I've been in programs where I mentored. And
Yes.
I realized that when I heard you speak, I realized that, yeah, reciprocal mentoring is definitely a thing because I learn as much from it's usually young women. The young women that I mentor, I learn as much about their generation, sometimes millennial and definitely Gen Z, as they learn from me. And I always phrase it that, well, when I was in your situation, this is what happened. But please layer on what's going on in today's workplace, just in case, because I don't want to mislead you. But I find that a lot of times things have not changed as much as I wish they had.
Yeah.
So
No, definitely.
yeah, yeah,
And I feel first and foremost, thank you for sharing that because it really gives some perspective and it sheds some light on how mentorship has either evolved or how it was portrayed over the years.
right.
And I'm just really excited about how mentorship, especially reciprocal mentorship, will take form in the next few years, given that we live in a time where there's so much change, rapid change happening. And so you
Yeah,
can't help but think about what are the human elements and the human aspects that can't be replaced and how do you double down
yes,
on that?
yes,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah. So have you had the ability to be mentored and have that reciprocal kind of relationship with someone?
Um, I would say the closest form of mentorship that I had in my professional career came a lot later. I was a visiting professor over at the Pratt Institute, another design school based in New York City. I taught there for about a semester and a half. This is when I was living in Atlanta and commuting between New York and Atlanta every weekend.
That's not a short distance.
It's not. But funny enough, it's actually faster to get to Atlanta to some places in New York if you're taking 3 trains.
Yeah. Yes. Yes. That's how I do it. But I am the daughter of a former railroad worker. So.
Wow. Gotcha. So you know.
Yeah.
So I mentioned that because there is the chair of the department that I taught for. Her name is Mary McBride. Shout out to you if you're watching. She's amazing. And she was an unintentional mentor to me, but she also encouraged me, hey, maybe explore some PhD programs. I know you already have 2 masters, but maybe it would interest you to really hone your skills and hone your research skills, so that you can have a career in teaching. Because right now teaching is more of like a side hustle for me.
Yeah. Yes.
It's part-time for me. Right. So things like that, just general, any questions that I had about academia, any questions that I had about teaching whatsoever, she really helped me improve my teaching skills, and she gave me a chance. I remember the reason why I got introduced to her was because a friend of mine was helping her look for a replacement for a professor that broke their leg, so they couldn't teach. They couldn't start their class the following week. So I had 1 week to prepare.
That's when you do like, well, okay, the lesson next week is this, and then I get ready for the next one. Yeah.
Exactly what happened.
Yes. One thing at a time. Yes.
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah. When I think about memories came up when you said about do I want to go for a PhD and whatnot. So I was a 17-year-old mom. So I did not go right to college. I went to college later. And I actually went to college when my son was in college. So now he's like 18 and he's going, and he didn't have a good first year. So he actually left college for a couple of years. And that's when I stepped in and said to myself, I'm probably the better financial risk. I should just do this now. Like I always knew I would do it eventually, but the question was when.
Yeah.
So at that point, I had gone, Dr. Karen Lawson invited me to go to what was at the time ASTD. It's a big training organization that's worldwide. Now it's ATD. And I went there, and the Philadelphia chapter had just amazing people in it. There was a woman there who had white hair like me. I didn't have white hair at that time. She had white hair like I do now. And she was listening to me say, I don't know, I was a really good student, but I just don't know if I can manage all this and all that kind of stuff. And she said to me, and I said, it's going to take me so long to get through doing this at night. And she looked at me and she said, how old are you now? And I was in my mid 30s, maybe early 30s, mid 30s at that point. And she said, someday you're going to be 50. Would you like to be 50 with a degree or without one? And I was like, okay. And then it took me 6 years to get the associate's degree, going 1-2 courses at a time at night and balancing everything else I was trying to do.
Wow.
And I know. And then it was time to decide whether I was going to continue there, because I now had an associate's degree in business administration, human resources. So I could continue at Ursinus College, or if I went down the road a piece, Eastern had this thing called a degree completion program designed just for people like me. So I got on the phone with Dr. Karen Lawson, the only PhD I knew at that time. Now, like everybody in my circle is a very scholarly PhD. So there's a lot of people around me now, but at that point she was it. And I said to her, since I did want to be her when I grew up, I said, what should I do? Does this sound on my resume? Is this going to look kind of fly by night? Because that was a really new concept back then, or whatever. And she said, how old are you now? And I think I said 37. And she said, get your degree and get on with your life. So I went to Eastern and, I fast tracked it. They had, I think you could say that there was mentorship kind of built in without calling it that.
Nice.
But I do remember let's talk peer mentorship for a minute.
Sure.
I went in with a cohort, and the first course was more about how are you going to manage this? Because the description I got from someone was you give up your life for 17 months and then you get it back again. And I'm like, why not? So I did. And so the first course was more about how you're going to balance all this with your work, your family, whatever else you have going on. And the second course was a heavy duty writing course. And these were 5-week courses, which covered 15 weeks of seat time overall. And so you were writing papers and giving presentations and doing application constantly. So you really did kind of give up the rest of your life. We stood in a circle on break at that second class, probably 2 or 3 weeks into the 5 weeks, and said in unison almost, I don't know if I can do this. Because it was the first time we were like, here you go. This is the pace. And I felt like mentally we locked arms and said, we're getting through this together. And we did get through it together. So that group of maybe a dozen people, when one was like, I can't, they would, peer mentorship kicked in. What are you struggling with? Can I help you with that? And we got each other through that together. So have you seen examples of peer mentorship out there in the world that you think are like, wow, people should do more of this?
Yeah, absolutely. I see people so I want to give a shout out to TRU as well, because we have a committee that's made up of about 18 different organizations right now. And they all come together with the spirit of non-competitive collaboration.
Love it.
And we will have committee meetings every quarter, and people are very open about talking about some of the issues that they're having, some of the challenges that they're having. And the people are very generous about lending their expertise and providing some advice. And this is all happening in front of everyone else. So it's a great model, and it's a great example of what can be done.
Yes.
So I see that as a really great example of peer mentorship in a sense.
Yeah. I would agree with you there. I think in the entrepreneurial world, there are a lot of what gets commonly called a mastermind. And by the way, anything for the folks listening out there, and by the way, if anybody's on and they have questions, we will answer them live. So please just put your questions down below and whatever you're on right now. Usually it's LinkedIn or YouTube or Instagram. We will answer those questions live. But where was I going to go with that? We were talking peer mentorship. Lost my train of thought.
Oh, it's okay. We were talking about the committee members and
Yes. I'm not getting it back, but I will. It'll come back. It'll come back. I was more interested in like, hey, ask us questions. We can do this thing. But yeah, we were talking about peer mentorship. Oh, terminology. So when people say mentor, this is what I know it to be. You tell me how would you describe it to somebody rather than me saying what I think it is?
So the distinction between, I would say, traditional mentorship, and then I'll talk about reciprocal mentorship, so I can just have the two side by side. Traditional mentorship is really all about information flow, in my opinion. It's less about, there's less emphasis on relationship building. There could be, I mean, it exists, but there's less emphasis on it. And it's really about information flowing from one more seasoned person to the less seasoned person.
Yeah.
That's what I think about when I think about traditional mentorship. But with reciprocal mentorship, just to take a step back, what if I told you that mentorship isn't a thing that you do, but it's a personal strategy that you can
Oh,
pursue to attain a lot of different benefits? And some of those benefits are like mitigating risk, becoming more effective in our work and relationships, and solving complex problems, not only just any complex problems, but intergenerational complex problems as well.
yeah.
So enter reciprocal mentorship, where it's really all about the two-way flow of
Mhm.
support and advice. And so that way, both the mentor and mentee benefit from the relationship.
I 100% agree with you. And that to me is the biggest thing I get out is the different perspectives of somebody that is Gen Z or millennial generation or Gen X
Mhm,
to the boomer way of life because we've dominated for so long.
mhm,
And it's not always the right thing to do. And it's definitely not always the right thing to do in the way we do things in today's world.
mhm.
Doesn't cut it anymore. And
Yeah,
I need to get that back. I mean, I can read all the articles, but to hear somebody's story is so important to
yeah,
me and
absolutely.
somebody's experiences. Yeah.
Yeah.
When you were talking about peer mentorship, I was going to talk about masterminds for a second.
Oh, that's what you were talking about. Yes.
Yeah. And I was going to say that anybody listening should really check out, like, make sure that when you say mentor, somebody else is talking about it the same way that you are, because there are paid mentorships. There are people who are like, I'll be your business mentor and
Mhm,
you'll pay me X. And it means I've done this before. So I know where you're going to stumble and I know where you're going to fall. And they're not really a coach coaching you through being stuck. They are okay, stop doing that, start doing this. And they're sharing their experience. So
mhm.
there's a group called SCORE that's retired
Oh, yeah.
executives that they provide that kind of feedback and things like that. But there's also organizations like Vistage
Mhm,
is the one that comes to mind, and there are so many of them. There are business masterminds of CEOs that do what you're talking about, that do the round robin, put
mhm.
your dirt on the table, and let's figure this out together. Yeah, I had that too. I just don't talk about it very much. It's cone of silence, right? And they help each other through without being competitive, even. And they do try to set those groups up so they're not active competitors from the same industry or anything in
Right,
there, that you can
right.
be free to talk
Yes.
about it. But people should really check out the definition of it.
Mhm,
The pure definition of it comes from the book Think and Grow Rich by
mhm,
Napoleon Hill, and he surrounded himself with a group of men. It was written in the 1920s. A group of men who were there to, like, think bigger
mhm.
and uplift each other while they were heavily capitalists, in society, who were making big bucks. But they were there to surround yourself with good people, or people that will test you and lift you up, but not bring you down.
Nice,
Yeah.
nice.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yes.
I love that. I love that example as well. And,
Yeah.
for those who are listening, you're probably wondering, okay, reciprocal mentorship, that sounds like a novel, new thing. It's not new,
Yeah.
but I had no other way of really describing what that type of mentorship was. So I just called it reciprocal mentorship, just
Hmm.
because of the two-way flow of information and relationship building. And the
Yeah.
reason why I believe it's so important, especially now, given, yes, we have so many tools to help us with our work, with our productivity, with our efficiency, but no one is talking about the human element. And when you're thinking about reciprocal mentorship, you're also thinking about being able to provide support and advice. And both the mentor and mentee have their own goals, and
Hmm.
they
Hmm.
both hold themselves accountable for each other's goals. And so I believe that it's really important right now, especially right now, because I've spoken to a lot of different C-levels that love to do mentoring, but they
Yes.
get so bombarded with their LinkedIn DMs and their LinkedIn messages that people constantly send them a barrage of requests to
Yes.
ask them to be a mentor.
Hmm.
But what actually sets you apart with reciprocal mentorship is that you have something that you're offering as well. And
Yes.
I think if you're a very, very busy executive and you're thinking about, hey, how do I give back? I want to make sure that not only they're getting something from it, but how do I fill my cup as well?
Yes.
How am I benefiting from this as well so I can continue to help others?
Yes.
So.
Yes. And I think the other thing is that, mentorship has been perceived, as we talked about previously, to be that one way, like top down. Okay, I've got this many years of experience, and you, whoever you are in front of me, don't. So I'm going to just tell you everything and fire hose you. That doesn't go very far. I've tried that. It doesn't stick. So, because people are like, too much.
Yeah.
So I try to do what Dr. Karen Lawson, she's obviously here today. What Dr. Karen Lawson taught me when I was going through my divorce. She had gone through a divorce, and ultimately I landed on something, and she said, there you go. And I was like, did you know that? And she said, yes. And I said, why did you not tell me that up front? And she said, because you weren't ready. And I was like, she said, you really wouldn't have, and she had a psychology degree. So she's like, you would not have been able to really take that in where you were when we started talking.
Wow.
And I was pissed off about it. And now I kind of get what she's talking about there, where, meet people where they are.
Yeah.
And give them bite-sized chunks.
Mm-hmm.
I should also say that there are many people in business that don't want their brains picked for free, and will offer you a fee to do so. I am one of those people that doesn't mind. My rule for myself is, as long as my business is successful and it's making money, I can donate my time for a certain amount of time. Like I try to boundary it, because I would give it all away, and that's, being broke does no one any good. So there's that. But people should be aware that some people are open to it and some people are not open to it. And an introduction could work to someone. But a lot of times it's a lot of fumbling around. I do have the people that I actually still mentor and that have been with me long-term are 3 women that I can think of. And one was introduced to me when she was working on a project. She's like a daughter to me. She was introduced to me when she was working on a project while she was working full-time, had twin babies, and was getting her bachelor's degree at night. She needed to work on a project, and she needed learning and development leaders. So someone from my immediate former place that I had worked said, another one, and she's off somewhere else now, so she'd have a different perspective. So we got introduced that way. I was in life coaching school, and she said, oh my God, I've always wanted to meet a life coach. And so we're still together after, gosh, I've been here 15 years.
Wow.
So 15 years we've known each other. And then somebody else just reached out on LinkedIn, and we only see each other every few years, usually when she's contemplating her next career move. And then the other person has reached out to me after she saw me do a panel, and we're very good friends. And that's definitely a two-way street. She offers me just as much. So do the others, but she offers me just as much as I offer her. So it's more of a friendship and a real peer level thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, absolutely.
She's many years younger. Many.
Absolutely. And you see how different those different instances are versus, hey, someone did cold outreach to you. Sure, you might have a 15-minute conversation, but how much impact did you really make? You have to build trust.
You do.
And that's something that I have openly criticized with some mentorship programs. They try to do speed rounds of mentorship, like 15-minute speed dating mentorship rounds. And that's hardly enough time to establish trust or psychological safety.
Yeah. Amen. It's like a quick answer thing.
Yeah.
You have one quick question? What?
Yeah.
I have never participated in one of those. But I've seen them, and there's, every year in February they run that kind of thing here. And I'm sure people get some stuff out of it. But I also had good success forming relationships with a program that was out there for women in tech.
Mhm.
Not around anymore, but they had a real group of very strong mentors. Their rule was like, we'd like you to have 17, 18 years in business before you
Wow.
volunteer to step in this. So they had women and men, but it was a program aimed at women in tech, which
Nice.
maybe you want to talk about next. And with that one, the person could choose over this 3-month program, they could do 3 half-hour mentor sessions, and they would go to this, group of mentors and pick somebody based on their bio and
Mhm.
what they specialized in. So I had some good conversations there and have formed some ongoing relationships there with that program.
Awesome.
People could come back to you 3 times. I always said, you can, and you should also like try out the others, try this one, try that one.
Mhm.
You should get a different perspective than you would get from me.
Exactly.
Yeah. Yeah. Talk to me about women in tech, because wow, that's a
Yeah.
whole thing. And non-binary people and people who are not male and probably white and straight. Talk to me about all that and how or just, what your feelings are on that one.
Sure. So there's a lot to be said. I recently did a panel at the state capitol here, specifically around women in tech and how do we foster having more women working in the technology field. And we were talking about, some of the barriers aren't necessarily just exclusive to women. It's a pervasive problem for new graduates, I would
Yeah.
say.
Mhm.
Also, with how quickly things are changing, you have to understand what the implications are for what really matters to build the skill sets for the real future of work.
Yeah.
And so I've talked about getting varying perspectives, just exactly like what you're just saying right now. Some people might come back to you over and over again for advice, but you
Mhm.
want to have a varying perspective and have basically like a kitchen cabinet of
Yeah.
different perspectives and different mentors that can give you advice. And
Yeah.
so I mentioned that not just specifically to women, but to new graduates and to students and to those who are trying to navigate their career early on.
Mhm.
Um, but specific to women, I really believe it's a mindset thing. I grew up thinking that, oh, women had XYZ types of professions. And then
Mhm. Yeah.
very, very quickly,
You're like, "Nope, that was wrong."
that was
Yeah.
not the case.
Yeah.
Tech is not only for one subset of people. Technology is, I mean, it's so broad. So,
Mhm. So
um,
very broad. Yes.
so I would advise to women who are trying to either break into tech or um, trying to explore
Mhm.
different functions within tech, do a skills audit of what you're good at. This is
Agreed.
actually like not only what you're good at, but what you enjoy doing.
Yes.
Ideally, it's a Venn diagram. If you imagine the two circles, it's right in the middle,
Yeah.
what you're good at and what you enjoy doing. And
Mhm.
ideally, what you can get paid for.
Yes. There's the third one in the middle. Yeah,
Yes, exactly.
exactly. Mhm. Yeah.
And funny enough, that's actually the same first step that I have for establishing a reciprocal mentorship relationship. You have to be very self-aware and you have to
Mhm.
understand where your skills lie,
Mhm.
where you're really great and where you can improve. Otherwise, you're just going to have a scattershot strategy trying to see whoever will answer your LinkedIn messages.
Yes.
And you want to have a more targeted approach, and you're more likely to develop a more meaningful relationship with an expert or someone that you admire if you come prepared. Uh,
Yes.
So
Yeah.
that's my long-winded answer.
That's a good answer, though. And I know that when I was in that program I mentioned, other mentors would sometimes say they don't come prepared. I'm like, I don't have that problem. They come prepared.
Yeah.
They look up my background, they check me out, and then they're like, how did you do this? What about that? I'm in this situation. And I never had anybody show up unprepared,
Mhm.
but it could happen. It could just be like, and I think the other thing is, for me, the mentee drives it, not the mentor. So
Mhm.
the mentee it's kind of like a coaching relationship. They say that, the coach comes prepared to coach, but the coachee sets the conversation and the agenda. This is what we're going to talk about today versus, coach me, just tell me what I need to know.
Mhm.
We don't know what you're going through at any given point in time. So
Mhm.
come prepared. Yeah. Yeah. I want to shout out somebody that went through the same program as you and I did, because if people are looking for resources, and I have to say that I haven't looked at them lately, but I know they were so good when I got them. At one point when I was still in corporate, we wanted to look into establishing a mentorship program. And it can get, when corporate drives it, it can get hard to manage because of the administration. How do you match people up, and then are they having their appointments, and all those kinds of things get in the way of the actual content of it. So a resource I found at that time was a woman who has passed on. Her name is Lois Zachary, and Lois kind of took the whole, so what do you need to know, and made it very, here's what goes into the relationship, here's the role of the mentee, here's the role of the mentor. And there were all these very easy to use resources out there. And her daughter has taken on that work, and her name is Lisa Fain, Fain. So if people look up Lisa Fain or Lois Zachary, I think you're going to find, and put in mentorship, you're going to find some really good resources that you can purchase or, use. I have not looked lately, but the stuff was so good, it stuck with me over the years. And I know that work is really important. People are looking sometimes for structure. And
Mhm.
if you're looking for that, like, read up on it and it will tell you what you need to know. So shout out to them and
Awesome.
their hard work. So was there anything else that we were going to talk about that we haven't covered yet that you want to? And I'm going to look down at my notes and see what else. So
There's so much, but we only have so much time.
this is
So,
true.
I wanted to just touch upon reciprocal mentorship and AI literacy. Um,
Yes.
and I've been thinking about this a lot, just given the work that I'm doing currently with building community within technology, things like that.
Hmm.
And a lot of the work that we do is help organizations understand how they might be able to integrate AI into their day-to-day, whether that's just getting introduced to Copilot or
Hmm.
Microsoft Copilot or ChatGPT or Claude or whatever you end up using. It's really just to normalize the use of AI.
Yes.
And one thing that I've noticed just by virtue of being a professor, the students that I have are not just digital natives, they are AI natives. And
Yes.
the people that are graduating have these skill sets that are not being translated onto their resume, and they're not being acknowledged by hiring managers. But
Yes.
then you have the more seasoned professionals that are not using AI that
Hmm.
want to learn how to do it, but they, you know, life gets in the way, work gets in the way.
Yeah.
But if there was something like a reciprocal mentorship relationship between a fresh new graduate and a seasoned professional working on a common challenge together,
Hmm.
where one person is teaching someone else AI tools, tips and tricks, things like that,
Yeah.
and the more seasoned professional is giving them career advice and also hands-on um, learning experiences, subject matter expertise as well, then
Hmm.
you close that gap.
You
And
do.
I feel like the more we do that, it doesn't have to be perfect, but if the intention is there and if the more we do that, the more we'll be able to create more jobs,
Yes.
create more opportunities for people
Yes.
to utilize their existing skill sets that are transferable. There's all sorts of different benefits.
There really are. Yeah. Like I said, I think I'm a pretty heavy user. Now, not as much as some, but far more than others.
Yeah.
And I just wrote a thing. My team encourages me to get on LinkedIn and rant once a month. So I call it permission to speak freely. And I was talking about how I know a lot of people my age, which is I'm definitely smack in the middle of boomer land. And we use AI, or at least Chat GPT. I use a suite called Sintra that sits on Chat GPT, and I don't have to do prompts. I can talk to it like it's human.
Nice.
And it just gives us all kinds of things back. And it has just accelerated the pace at which we can move like crazy. And I also love Notebook LM, and they do some amazing stuff with, like, hey, you can take that thing and turn it into an audio file or an explainer video, or just amazing things. And when we were back east for over the holidays, we have Gen X, millennials, and Gen Z covered through our children and grandchildren. And to a person, everybody was complaining about AI and how it was the end of the world because one was talking about brain drain, another one was talking like when it creates it, you haven't formed the pathways to create it. Agreed. And so, battle that one so that you're not just like turning yourself dumb. But the other thing was the sustainability of it and the water usage and the electricity usage and all those kinds of things. And that was the biggest concern with it, is how much it was using. And so my point was that in my own family anyway, the people that are pro AI tend to be us older ones, where the people that are younger are like, I don't think so. And we're getting some good questions from Brian over there I can see those coming in. So we'll get to you, Brian. But I think that it's kind of interesting, and I had to be introduced to it. So one of the people that introduced me to it was our person that we went through HPS with, Dale Bertrand, who was an early adopter of AI and showed me some things. And then another colleague here, Dr. Anam Lekian, showed me how to use, I was like, I don't like ChatGPT. It sounds like some kid that got downloaded corporate jargon and just spits it out randomly. And she said, okay, let's try Claude. So we did. I liked Claude's voice better. And then I found Sintra. And so now I've got my bots trained.
Nice.
You have to train them. So let's look at what Brian says. Brian says it drives me nuts when classes prohibit the use of AI. Would you like to comment on that, Nicole?
Yes.
Yeah.
I am the rare exception that I embrace students using artificial intelligence because I know they are going to do it. You can't prevent it. So what I end up doing is adjusting the way I teach so that I can think 10 steps ahead. Okay, if I have students that are prompting this assignment,
yes,
think about what is going to force them to think critically and how do you foster those critical thinking skills? So I ask them, hey, I know you're going to use AI, but be honest about it and be totally forthcoming about the prompts that you used, your iterations, and bonus points. If you find hallucinations, because AI will hallucinate, throw that in your appendix as well. And like it really forces them to really think about, oh, maybe I shouldn't believe everything AI is telling me.
Yes.
Oh, I'm still here, but my face is frozen.
Yes, I can see that every once in a while StreamYard will do that. So okay. I'm sure that you will come to life soon.
Oh,
there we go.
I'm back.
I clicked on you. Oh. For some reason, that seems to work. If I take my cursor and click on you.
Oh, okay. Thank you.
No idea what's going on with our friends at StreamYard. So, and then Brian also has, I think you froze again. I'm curious on your thoughts as using AI as a mentor. Obviously, it can't nor should replace human connection, but is it possible to get valuable insights from it? I would say yes, but what do you say first?
100%.
What would you like to offer on that one?
Yes, well, it can't replace human connection. It can certainly augment human connection. I would say that for the things that are taking up a lot of your time, like, oh, I should come up with a list of questions that would help me understand the subject matter's expertise better, to better prepare me to be able to focus on developing the relationship. I think that's a really great use of AI. Using tools like Perplexity. I used Perplexity a lot for research, looking at the background of people and different public figures who are very similar to the people that you admire. So being well informed about that, so you come equipped with facts. Absolutely. Absolutely.
I've used, so Sintra is a suite of 12 bots that sits on ChatGPT, as I understand. They may have updated that, but I've been with them for a while. It's a fairly early adopter. And each little bot, they're adorable. They look human-like. I assign them genders based on their names and how they present, but one doesn't have to. Some of them look pretty non-binary. And those little bots have jobs to do. So Gigi is responsible for my personal development. And she will step in whenever I'm asking questions about, like, how to manage my health or something like that. So I have gotten, Brian, some really good advice from my little bots because I have fed so much information into that closed system brain that they definitely know me. And I will ask, the one I have trained the best is Penn. And Penn is my copywriter, and Penn writes like me almost better than I can. The problem is now all the bots are out there in the world are starting to write very similarly. And I feel like they trained on my writing somewhere back when. So it sounds like me. So I have to switch it up and change it up a little bit. But honestly, Penn gets me better than anybody else. And if I ask him, like, what am I not seeing? He'll tell me. So I would say that you can get good advice. The other thing I want to throw out there is I did a Disrupt HR talk last year, and it was on, what was my title? Breaking all the rules of leadership, how people are different, so you have to lead differently. And one of the things in there about AI, and I believe I have this right, 70%, I believe it was, of people who use AI would prefer to use it rather than talk to their boss about their own development.
Wow.
Which tells you something. I'm not sure exactly what. But when we trust our AI more than we trust the human, we have to ask ourselves why that is. Like, what has that human done to cause us not to trust them? And they're in the system, but AI can give you a good outside perspective, I think. I think it's a both and. Like, use the human, check AI, see what you're missing. It can give you ideas that you didn't have before. So, yeah. Anybody else have any questions? Feel free to put them in there because we're going to bring this to a close in the next few minutes. So, Nicole, if people want to get a hold of you in general, how would you like them to do that if they want to reach out?
Sure. They can feel free to email me. It is NicoleC@truehawaii.org.
Very nice. Okay.
That's my email.
Okay.
You can also go on truehawaii.org on the website just to check us out. And also, I think, those are the two main ways.
Very good. Okay. And you're on LinkedIn if people want to check you out there. And then I want to comment that Nicole is a fantastic speaker. So if you want to hire her, where would you like them to get in touch with you to hire you? Because I know you have your own website.
Sure. You can check out my website. It's NicoleCacal.com. That's NicoleCacal.com. And it kind of just goes over my portfolio of speaking engagements. And you can feel free to reach out to me there or reach out to me through my TRU address. Very good.
Very good. Highly recommend. And is there anything else that you wanted us to know before we do bring it to a close?
Just that this was such a great conversation. I'm really grateful for the opportunity, and we had some great questions as well. And it's really given me some thought, making me think a lot about the next steps of how to be more intentional about mentorship. and help others see how beneficial and useful it can be, both professionally and personally.
It has added so much to my life. I can't even tell you, not only on the receiving end, but the giving end, and then the back and forth. It has just enriched my life so much. And I enjoy connecting people to other people. So it's helped with that too. I've been able to share my network with people that I mentor. And Nicole, I want to thank you for getting up really early so that you could be on this live event and share your ideas with folks. For anybody listening, we are recording this, and as soon as we shut it down, and it will be out there in a few minutes on LinkedIn, and it will also be over there on our Instagram channel and also on the Aligned at Work YouTube page. So thank you so much again for doing this with me. It's been a pleasure to reconnect. It's been too long since it was only 3 years, but it feels like so many times, so much has passed.
Yes.
So many things have happened in the world. So folks, have a good one. Stay grounded. And thank you very much for showing up today.
Thank you.